friends. This is Tash, and you are watching Unwritten Rules of the Road. We have a really special guest today joining us, Nina Heckman from Metropolis Records. Thank you so
Hi.
much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been really excited to get to chat with you. I'm on a few bands that are on Metropolis. I play keyboards for a few of your bands, but it's just I've known about Metropolis for so long as
Distance in
just
Fleshfield, correct? Or is there more?
I know we're for those of us that play instruments, it's interesting how we like kind of like rotate with
There's,
so many
there's
bands.
festivals I go to, and there's certain people that's like, oh, you're in 8 bands, like Eric Gottesman. He's gonna be in like 8 bands.
Yes,
Or
yes.
Jamie, who's in Combi Christ, he's gonna be in eight
Hmm.
bands. And then every once in a while I show up to a festival and they're like, no, I'm only in one band. And you're like, what? I entered the Twilight Zone. So
It's true. It's true. I know. It's funny. I mean, it's like an ongoing joke every time Eric and I see each other. It's like we usually cross paths too at the festivals, so which is
okay.
awesome.
I've known
Yeah.
Eric since I was like 10. He has like a not great story about the first time he met me because I was just being a brat who didn't want to be there and just was like basically having a temper tantrum. I think this is how he recalls it to me. I don't remember. So like great. Except I'm not embarrassed about things anymore, so whatever.
It's
Uh,
I, yeah, I think it is one of the things I actually really love about our community is just the friendships that you forge and just over time it's like wow, there's so many stories and so much history that you form together over time.
yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes it is like, oh wow, I did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was a kid. So, I mean, the track
Yes.
started with my dad. So I mean, some people met me as a kid. So, yeah. I mean, though Gottesman is not that much older than me, he was playing in bands when he was underage. So, like, we were both snuck into the venue. So, I was
Okay, so
probably 18 or something.
I have to ask, do you have a recollection of like your first live show?
Sisters of Mercy when I was a little kid. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah. Yeah.
What
So
did you think of it? Did you love it or was
I
it
was actually, it was at like, it was a big venue in Philadelphia, and I was actually afraid of goths. I remember being afraid. And Andrew Eldridge, I don't know if I should tell this story, but anyways, well, I feel like old school goths don't like being called goths. Like Susie Sue, Andrew Eldridge, um, Robert Smith from The Cure. My dad hate being called goth. I mean, my dad would wear all black all the time, but like if you called him goth, he'd be pissed off. I'm like, dude, you run like the biggest goth label in the whole world. Like how can you deny it? And I come into venues, I kind of like I would consider myself goth. I listen to goth music. I like dark music. But I also like kind of I'm a little bit of a troll to goths too. I guess like I'm a rainbow goth, so like I will tell people like, oh, like I can't really rebel from my family because there's, out there or whatever. And mine is wear as much color as possible. Like it's weird that my hair is one color right now. Normally it's like five. So I'll come in like I've gone to like a Clan of Xymox show and like a pretty in pink dress, kind of like with like hearts all over it. And Tish from Yes Productions, I know you interviewed her, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
She showed up at the venue and she fell to the ground like laughing. I thought she was gonna pee herself. I think she was like bracing her pelvic floor when she fell to the ground. So my trolling goths is like, oh, that chick runs Metropolis Records, and then you're like, I've actually had people like argue with me, being like, no, you don't, because I'm just so colorful. I'll be like, okay, whatever. You have that belief, you have whatever preconceived notion you have. So yeah. Uh,
I think it's awesome. I love that you bring in like a completely like fresh like perspective in that way, you know?
and apparently, I'm not the only rainbow goth, but we're rare, so you can pick me out
Yes.
for sure. um, yeah, actually, as
Yes.
a senior superlative in high school, I got most likely to stand out in a crowd, so I have not let that award down. So yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm glad that you have lived up to your moniker.
My only high school award were yeah. So I take it, at least I didn't get like most likely to end up in jail. Like that was a pop people got, so that,
uh, so here you are running Metropolis Records. Like, and initially, it's interesting. Like your first show was Sisters of Mercy. That's really really awesome. Like I've never actually had a chance to see them myself. It's been on my bucket list of like bands that I'd love to eventually experience live. But
yeah.
I mean, you've probably lost track at this point of how
Now,
many.
I feel like there was a while too where there was so much smoke that you couldn't even see him play, and I know people complained about that, and then the show started getting better again because uh yeah.
There's nothing like good smoke, I think. I think it's like one of those things where it's
Oh,
like a yes, yes.
yes. So,
Phoenix Jade is saying, "Who doesn't love rainbows?" I agree. Yes.
yeah, I think that's on one of my sweaters. It's just like a rainbow cloud, and it's like we're all gonna die, and it's like smiling, like.
Yes. uh, I was wondering actually, like, being so embedded in the music industry, um, like, do you like have like certain, I guess, um, times that you need to take like breaks because I'm sure it's like you have to stay so busy, supporting your bands, going to shows, all the things. But yeah, I was just curious, like, is there like periods of time where you have to like kind of like step away to feed your own well, so to speak? Because I know you're also an artist.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like bands coming into town, like sometimes it'll be like the most will be like, oh, one every week or something.
Hmm.
That outrageous. I do find I travel a lot for work, which is fun, but also at the same time sometimes not grounding. So
Yeah.
like festivals take a lot out of you. Just I get winded, whatever. If I have to go
Yeah.
to Europe, then coming back, my sleep is horrible. Then it's like coming back is the worst because then I just stop sleeping. Like I missed my circadian rhythm, and then it's just like, no, you're just gonna stay up all night, and then you're like a couple days go by, and you're just like, I haven't slept. So, so I know last year I took like 8 months off from traveling because I just like hit a wall where it was just this is um too much. But
Yeah.
like yeah, I mean there's also like a balance too in like I've been with my own art, I've been more prolific than I've ever been in my whole entire life. And the last 2 weeks I cranked out like two paintings a week. Like and
Wow.
and now I'm kind of slowing down, like sometimes in between projects I kind of slow down. But I was like fuck the world. I don't need the world. I just need my art. And then after like a week and a half of like no contact with the world, you're like, I'm sad.
Oh.
Like I need a hug. So
Oh.
I just didn't schedule people into my life. And so it's just, every time something gets a little out of whack, then it's like, oh, I have to reassess like what I need to be balanced.
Yeah.
So a human connection is one of those, even if you do think the world sucks. Apparently we need that. So,
Yes. We do need each other. It's true.
but yeah, So yeah, just finding balance in general, and then seeing what, like my body needs and all that. So yeah, I'll take breaks when I need to. If bands are in town, I always make an effort to see the bands. Even like, I mean, there's been times where I'm like, I can't stay for the show. Like maybe I have jet lag or something. That's happened probably twice, where I'm just came back from like Europe or something, and I'm just, but I'll at least like get dinner. Like if I feel like it's really important for me to have relationships with my bands. It's different when you're an email than when you're a person. I've
Hmm.
had bands where I'm literally like when I first started 3.5 years ago. I mean, people didn't know who I was other than like Dave's daughter or, you know, an email. So it's like they didn't have rapport with me. And sometimes it'd be like, I just write them an email like, hey, I need you to claim your Spotify, like over and over. And then just no email. And then you meet them at a festival. And then they're like, for like weeks, they're texting you every single day, because then they're like, oh, they put a person to it. So having
Yeah.
these relationships with people really helps, the communication, and then just the drive, like knowing their drive drives me, like, and kind of feeding off of that energy.
It actually makes me think about like the power of the live interaction in general. And I just wanted to ask you actually, like, what you think, if it's still important with like playing live, touring and playing live music. Because, obviously you can still reach people digitally, and reach people in different ways. But like you were saying, you were talking about like the power of the actual like interfacing in person,
Well,
you
there's like
know?
a really good show you can have like a spiritual experience uh
Yeah.
with art. I mean, art to me is a spiritual experience. We talked a little bit about this on our pre-talk, but uh like where does art come from? It comes from the soul, it comes from your heart. Like you have to be emotionally vulnerable to make art. I mean, you could not be, but I just don't think it's as powerful. Like I went through a 5-year period where I made no art at all, or maybe like force myself to make one painting a year, and it couldn't. So like artists are like a certain breed. We're very emotional creatures, and I think in order to make art, you have to be like emotionally vulnerable. And I learned in my time away from art, like what it means to make art. Like so I had like a reawakening like a little over a year ago, and it was kind of a painful experience, because I purposely turned off my vulnerability to deal with life, because
Mm.
it was hard. So like when I turned it back on, it's just like, oh, I'm emotional about all this stuff, or there's things that I pushed down that I didn't want to deal with. So there'd just be a lot of emotions that came out. And then I had a choice. I can go back to being dead and not feeling anything, or I can choose to have these highs and lows, which are beautiful in themselves. Like I could go into like, I also think darkness is a very beautiful thing.
Hmm.
Whole nother topic. And this gets into my goth, is that I think it's very important for growth. I'm very into Jung philosophy, that um I'm not going to suffer for no reason. Like if I'm going to suffer, it's actually a gateway to my subconscious. I get
Yeah.
to explore where this is all coming from when I go through heartbreak. It gives me insight into parts of myself that have not been healed,
Yeah.
like where am I projecting, and what child part is not healed, and then I can grow. uh Anyways, I got a little, so many topics
Yeah.
off
No.
tangent, but um uh yeah, I don't know. I can go either down the artist condition, or the darkness. So, um, uh, but I going back to like, I guess more the artist condition. I see this in some of my bands, or even friends of mine that are artists or musicians, or they try to chase they try to chase what the fans want, or they try to chase fame or whatever it is. And I think that's where the death of the artist happens. that it really has to like, or I have one friend right now who he's struggling. He hasn't made an album in quite some time. Uh,
Hmm.
but he's like getting back into it, really wants to do it. And so I've been like unpacking with him like what his creative like outlet is. He's like, well, my first album was really good, and the second album, I chased, I chased the thing, chased the dragon. And I'm like, of course it's not gonna be as good. Because you're not like fully feeling it. So I could go down so many tangents. I just there's so many things popping into my head. Um, so I've been really I tell him this story. He likes me telling this story to him over and over again. But I've been really leaning into happy accidents. So I have this, so there's a band on my label called Lost Signal. Do you know Charles at all? Okay, yeah. So he has a song called Not the End of Me, and uh it has a line, a shattered heart is easier to mend. So I got tattooed on
Mm.
my back. And
Oh.
yeah, so I had a no regrets moment, and before everyone like drops their mouth and was like, "Oh my God, this is like so horrible," it was like the best thing that ever happened. It's my favorite tattoo because it's the very nature of the lyrics of the music is so basically my tattoo artist, and he's has so much shame around this. Like I also got on the other side, I want to dream everything it could be, which is another lyrics from one of my bands. It was written for me because I went through heartbreak, and she wrote me a very beautiful love song, and I'm glad it was a love song and not not a like go fuck yourself song because it's just not who I am.
Yeah.
But I want to dream everything it could be. To, to me, in order to dream, you have to love, and in order to love, you have to dream. And so, in order for like, if I have a vision, a labor of love, then I have to dream it first before it ever comes true. So, it to me, it's also self love to say, I want to dream everything it could be is self love. It's to aspire to your dreams and see them. Anyways, so I got both of those lyrics tattooed on my back. He does the whole thing, and then he like freaks out, sits me down. He's like, "So I you have a shattered heart rate is easier to mend." And I was like, "How did this happen?" At no point did I freak out at all, but I'm just like, "How did this happen?" And he like showed me everything printed out and what I okayed. And I guess when he sized it to fit my shoulder, it auto filled. And so so then he's like, I could put a heart, whatever you want. I'll do cover up, like no charge. And I was like, I want an anatomical heart. And of course it's small. Like, so he's like, no, that would be really hard for that size and the shading. And so I literally actually have a show and tell. I have some art behind me, but literally a week before um I had the tattoo session, I actually made art about that piece. Um, so, uh, what is it? Like, it's a kintsugi heart. I have to get farther back. It's a
Oh,
kintsugi
wow.
heart with a phoenix coming out of it. So,
Oh.
the the art of like shattering ceramics and then putting it back together with gold. So it's like and the lyrics really resonate with me, especially like this last year has been somewhat challenging for me. It was the year of the snake, so it was a lot of shedding. I had a lot of like relationships I had to leave and like reevaluate myself, and so in a sense like everything broke, but it showed me that there was like cracks in the framework to begin with. So now I get to rebuild it. I get to rebuild my heart the way I want it to be without those cracks, or it has those cracks, but now it's more beautiful lined with gold. So, anyways, so then I was like, so I turned it like, and then I get a little sassy with my tattoo artist, and I was just like, I want an anatomical heart dripping gold. And I showed him the piece, and he's just like, sighs. He's like, okay. And so while he's drawing it up, I called Charles, and Charles and I are like geeking out about this. We think it's like the best thing ever because that's what the lyrics mean. It's like, this is not the end of me. I was broken from the start. I've yet to fall apart. A Shattered Heart's easier to mend. I've been here before, but I'm not running anymore. There's more
Mm.
lyrics to it. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. And I listen to it a lot, and it has shaped me in a sense over this past year. So it's very meta because it's my art inside of his art about his art. And so and it's literally the meaning of the song. Like if my tattoo artist had done like bad line work, I'd have walked out of there with bad line work. But because it got fucked up so bad, it had to be rebuilt. And so it was better. So like I come back in and I'm just like, so I've been really leaning into happy accidents with my own art. And he's like, yeah, happy accidents. Like and and then I basically explained what like I just explained to you to him. And I'm like, don't you see how beautiful this is? He's like, no. And so for the next like 2.5 hours, I tried to cheer up my tattoo artist and he broke. He's just like, he's like, well, you could just tell people, that you meant it to be this way. I was like, nah, I'm gonna tell people that. Like I'm giggling the whole time. I'm having like the best time ever, and he's having like the worst time ever. So
Oh.
at the very end, I'm like, what do I owe you? He's like, you don't owe me anything. Like I like he looked like he was gonna cry. I'm like, so I'm really happy with everything. I actually think like your mistake made it better. Like no one's mad at you. I talked to the artist whose lyrics it is. We both think it's better. We're geeking out about it. Like please let me pay you. Like so so anyways, that's my story. So yeah, with my own art, it's just you go with it. You feel it. If you make a mistake, you can paint over it or you just let it be. So like, I mean, even with music, just feel it. Like you can go back to your stems. It's actually probably easier with music than a painting or a,
Mhm.
like so that's what I have been telling my friend. But also another thing I've been doing is kind of like I guess um piggybacking off of the idea of like inspiration kind of like feeding off of other people. Like for instance,
Yeah.
Charles did that song and I felt moved to make something, or my friend wrote wrote that song for me because I was going through a really hard time. Actually, she has a painting of mine in her house, and she said she was staring at the painting, channeling my energy when she wrote it. And I think that's really sweet. And so then I ended up making a piece about that song. I guess it was really her vision, not mine. Um, More show and tell. Um,
I
just
love show and tell.
few people on the beach, two lovers on the beach holding hands, and then like a mirror. And so my input was like, I don't actually want to draw a mirror, but I could do their inner children, so that's supposed to be their inner child. And so yeah, so it's just like art feeds on itself. So like going back to the tattoo, it's like, oh, that feeds on it. And actually, Charles remixed that song, the I Want to Dream Everything It Could Be. It's called Sacred
Yeah.
Mirror. John Ashton from Psychedelic First performs on it as well. Um, I actually asked Charles to remix it, and I asked him to remix my heart because there's something very satisfying about someone like asking someone to remix your heart. And of course, Charles is like one of the biggest hearted people you'll ever meet. You can just feel his energy. He's just so sweet, and he was just like, he's like, I'd be so honored. Thank you for entrusting me with your heart. And I'm just like, just so sweet. Way with your words. So it's just it feeds on itself. So, anyways, again, I'm all over the place, all these tangents. Getting back to my friend who's having writer's block, he likes my art. He wants me to like I will have friends give me prompts, and then I will
Mhm.
see what materializes in my head. So him and I have decided that we're giving each other prompts, and then we're both going to make art. He's going to make a song for me. I'm going to um uh make an art piece for him. So it also gets him out of his head instead of like oh, I have to create something that's going to be a hit instead of like, oh, I'm just doing this for fun because we're doing this kind of thing back and forth. And it becomes really, I find those art projects so fun because I also get to channel my friends' energies into it.
Yeah.
So there's like when I do them, the first one I did was for my the lead singer of Magic Wands. That's the one. This one she was staring at. I was like, "Give me a prompt." She's like, "I want something magical." And I was like, "Okay." So I put uh like a spell book, and out of the spell book comes all her lyrics, and then her spirit animal is a fox, and I'm a unicorn. And it has all the elements around it. But then I also did one for Bat, the Brett, the bass player of the Birthday Massacre. So
Hmm.
him and I are really good friends. We actually have matching tattoos. I didn't know he went by Bat until uh well, I asked him to give me a prompt, and then like a week he was like, let me think about it. And then a week later I already had it figured out what it was. But he when I was reading the press release Birthday Massacre, he was listed as Bat. And I was like, oh, that's interesting because he has a bat tattooed on his hand. And so he also has like the symbols for the planets tattooed on his hands. And then I have like the Mother Maiden Crone and Alchemical Sun, and then I have Horus. So I did like a bat flying over a city, and then like all those symbols from her hands. So I just said it was my interpretation of her hands. Well, so I have a lot of fun, and then also like the one with, the ones I just showed you. It's really fun because those because then I'm like kind of channeling them into it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I actually think like those pieces are actually more powerful. I have like two that I'm kind of working on right now from prompts that my friends gave me. And so like each piece I do, I make sure there's a piece of them in there and a piece of me in there as well. So that's kind of where I am on my creative exploration right now, is leaning into that.
I
Um,
really love that. I love the collaboration and like okay, to go full circle, I'm actually interviewing Charles next month. So when you
okay,
brought up Charles, I was like, I am totally gonna have to talk to him about this. I'm so excited.
my really weird tattoo. It was really funny when I called him. He's like, "What does your back say right now?" I'm like, "A shattered heart rate is easier to measure." We're just like laughing our asses off. Like, yeah. So yeah. Um,
I think that's something that's really amazing about art in general. It's its own language and own conversation that you can share with other people. Like you were saying, like channeling your friend's energy, and bringing that into your expression and weaving it in, and then seeing what they bring back to you. You
yeah.
know.
It like feeds on itself in a sense. Like I made something for my friend, she made something for me, then I made something for her again, and then I'm gonna send a print off to her. I sent a print off to Charles as well. So like, um, I think he was very honored by that. I mean, people know. I mean, it's very honoring when someone you move someone so much they make something like when someone makes a song for me, like you're like, I was the muse for that. Oh my God. Like my friend that wrote me this song, Sacred Mirrors, it's a very beautiful song. And I was going through a lot at the time. Um, I love unpacking music, and sometimes it doesn't, it's your interpretation sometimes is not what the artist interpreted as or whatever. And so it was kind of funny when Dexy brought me this song, and I helped her write her press release and stuff like that, because she's like, you know more about the song than me. It's your song. I'm like, well, I can tell you what I'm going through, but it was it was a lot of fun for me to unpack. I actually wrote up a whole thing for when the day it came out that went with the piece of art. And yet like I listen to it, and every day I have like something else I learned from the song. Like
Mm, yeah.
to be a lover, you have to be a dreamer, and to be a dreamer, you have to be a lover. That's something that came from that, like hearing her song, or even just um her and I bicker back and forth like in a very loving friend kind of best friend kind of way, where she's like, you're gonna meet a guy someday and you're gonna believe in forever and always. And I'm like, no, I'm not, because forever is a lie because everything dies. And one day it hit me that I was like, oh, I have my own version of what forever and always is, not in the sense that you're always with someone, but in a sense like an experience can forever change you, and someone can always some you can always love someone. And actually, I wrote here. Let me pull up what I wrote about that. Very I put on my Facebook because it was like I was like, so this is all Dexy Valentine's fault. We've been bickering for years about forever and always. I've been
Mm.
a admit non-believer because forever, as we usually mean it, is a lie. Everything changes, everything ends, everything dies. But love in all forms has taught me something different. Always can exist as long as you're not attached to outcome. Always with you doesn't mean always beside you. Uh, true love doesn't possess, it doesn't trap, it allows growth. Even when growth means space, distance, or growing apart. Love that can't change from form becomes attachment, control, nostalgia, fantasy. Real love evolves from presence to memory, from intimacy to gratitude, from longing to quiet recognition. You don't lose love just because relationship changes. Change is where true love lives. Some relationships awaken you. They change you forever, and you get to carry what they awaken for the rest of your life, whether that person stays or goes. You don't lose the feeling because the outcome changes. Love isn't conditional on permanence. Love isn't owned. It, endure, love endures by transforming.
Mm.
So, yeah. So there's been so many times I've called her and been like, I've unpacked another layer of your song. So it's yeah, I think being inspired by your friends, and I think like channeling it or channeling the universe, or uh it's really beautiful because you kind of learn from the art. Like she
Yeah.
learned from my art, I learned from her art, and it's kind of like this cyclical thing. um yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's something that it's something like when you really feel a piece of art, whether it's visual or music, it's like I feel like it taps into like a truth, right? It taps into like something that and in some cases it taps into something so deeply that other people really feel it, you know? And they're like, "Oh, I actually know what that feels like." And it's spoken very clearly where you're like, "Oh, wow. I recognize that feeling."
Yeah, I have to say, like, when I'm going through like troubled times, I like to listen to sad music. And it's not that I'm spiraling out of control, it's more of like, they understand my pain.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yes. Yeah.
because the human condition is universal. Like, we all know what grief feels like. We've all felt heartbreak, loss, you know, whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that you know, I really love that you, have been sharing really like how the art really speaks to you and like how you express it as well. Because I feel like it's something that sometimes people, I feel like if they are aspiring artists, it takes some time to figure out like how do I voice this? How do I express this? How do I write this? You know? But yeah.
it's just you just feel it. And I mean, I
Hmm.
know like I'm not like most labels, and I think a lot of my bands really love me for this because I'm not going to try to change your art. Like it's not like I want you to make your hit. You're going to make your hit when you really feel it, when you really allow yourself to dive into what your condition is. Like Lou Reed was not a good singer, but you could feel his energy. Sometimes it's not about the best voice, it's like when they scream their heartbreak, you're like, yeah, I fucking feel that. I've been there. I know what that feels like, and it moves you. So like you can't move your audience, like you can't connect to another person until you connect to yourself. That's just a universal truth. Like
Hmm.
uh base level with people. Like I've seen this with, friends or whatever. But also your art too. Like you have to connect to it. It has to mean something to you, and it's otherwise it's not gonna transfer over to someone else. They're not gonna it's so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
more to just having technique. Like, oh, you can make a beat. Like, yeah, you have technique. Or I could like, like someone could draw like a landscape perfectly, but it has no personality. Like you still have to have that raw feeling to it. So there's a combination of like raw feeling and technique. You need a little bit of both.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely, you know, completely like resonate with that idea too. Cause like I've some of my favorite artists are not the best singers, but oh my gosh, like their music, the way they're singing, it just really like touches me. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it comes from a place of just like the rawness. I think just being able to embrace that rawness.
Yeah. Like I have friends or uh musicians or whatever that are like, I put out this song just because and it's a weird one. Everyone likes this weird song that we made. I'm like, yeah, because that's where your creativity really lied. You're like, oh, they think it's the outlier that no one's gonna get, and it's the one they were most passionate about.
Yeah. Well, I actually was wondering because you have a lot of very well known established artists on the label, but when you're looking at new artists to bring onto the label, is that something that you just kind of sense where you're like, okay, I feel you're talking about like I don't require them to have a hit, but if you're like, okay, I feel like this is something that has potential to really connect and express in a really authentic way.
Yeah, I mean the music has to move me for
Hmm.
there's also, are we going to vibe? Because I like to interview bands a bit more, have them meet the whole team. I think when we first started out, like my mom and I, we're still fresh figuring it out. Sometimes we'd sign people and we didn't have as much of a relationship or rapport, and it's just good to know like, hey, you're signing you know your art away for 15 years, like this, we're in a contractual relationship for 15 years, like, so do you do you really want to be in this relationship? Like, because I'm gonna work harder for people who appreciate me, and we have this back and forth, like this creative energy, right? Um like when you truly believe in it, like when I go to pitch you, like my soul's behind it. So I think it's important to have that. I mean, that's rare in a capitalist society. I feel very lucky to have like this label because it is kind of like a family vibe. Like
Yeah.
my two full-time employees have been with us for 30 and 27 years. They've known me since I was 7 and 10 years old. They're like uncle
Wow.
to me. Like this is not a replaceable thing. Like Jim, my label manager, we talk every day. Like that's really cool. Like you just so it's a little more personal feeling, and so like I feel that same way with a lot of my bands. I have personal relationships with them, and some of them become like really good friends of mine where it's like, yeah, we'll talk about your rollout and stuff, but how are you doing, or how's the family, or like that's just um yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing, actually. Like you were talking about, like especially in a capitalist culture, and in the entertainment industry, no less. Like, I feel like a lot of times artists can be looked at as more like commodities. And so it's amazing to know that there's a community that artists can feel like, oh, wow, you look at me like a person. And,
And your
right?
art is a commodity, you are a person. And yeah, I mean
Yeah.
horror stories too of like um certain level of exploitation that I think is not tasteful. Like, oh, trying to tell a story without like I have a friend who had like kind of a near death experience earlier in her career, and then like they wanted to use that as publicity, and they're like,
Okay.
this is a traumatizing experience, why would I want to do that, you know, like
Right.
so I've heard, you know, like, and to me it's like it needs to be up to the artist. Like, I mean, there's certain things I have control over, but I want to make sure that that still resonates with their integrity. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because if it's literally compromising their well-being, like mentally, physically, I mean, the entertainment industry has its own like kind of disgusting, like, oh, you have to look a certain way or present a certain way, and you know, sex sells or whatever. And I get it to some degree, but at the same time, it also like sickens me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends if that's part of your art. I mean, there's like IMX that's like that is their art. It's very erotic, you know.
Yeah.
But if that's not your art, then you shouldn't have to get on, you know, stilettos and shake your tits or whatever. Like that's
Yes. Yes.
I do not twerk at my art shows. I want people to look at my art.
Oh my gosh. Yes, agreed. I know it's awesome like feeling that there are like, you know, proponents of that mentality. You know, especially you know, having experienced that where you're like, "Oh wow, I don't have to do that. You can look at me as an artist. You can look at me for my work."
Mhm.
And knowing that there's people out there that are all for that, you know, that's
Drama. I
awesome.
mean, that's what I mean, look at our current political system. It's off of like drama, and it's
Hmm.
why can't we look at the substance of the things that people are doing rather than like, I mean, entertainment, but like our form of entertainment has gotten really sick. Like you're checking out the grocery store and they have those like shitty magazines. They're like, oh, this person went to rehab or this person put on weight or whatever. It's just like it's so
Right.
gross. It's like we're all dealing with the human condition, right? Like who at some point hasn't been out of control because they're dealing with a shit ton of pain, or oh, you know, you your brother committed suicide and therefore you deal with your pain by eating too much. Like it's just sick.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
everyone's just trying to deal and looking at other people's pain somehow. We're focusing on other people's shit, then we can't grow as people. And it's
Hmm.
that is disgusting. Like
Yeah.
we're all dealing with the human condition, and part of the human condition is that hopefully we're growing to be better versions of ourselves. And so if I'm looking at this guy over here being a total asshole, like what does that tell about like why am I focusing on their shit? Though I
Yeah.
will say, now that I think about it, like I did have like a stupid amount of friend breakups last year.
Hmm.
I'm just like, I don't want you in my life. I'm done. Like I guess it's to me it was like unveiling, like I grew as a person and I learned what my self-worth was, so therefore I leveled up and my bar changed. And so there's this thing that happens where like you know the trope, your life flashes before your eyes when you die. It's kind of like when a relationship dies, your life flashes before your eyes. And I've done more research on it. It's just your subconscious basically dropping every time you're uncomfortable and you just remained silent to preserve the relationship. And I think as women we're told to shut up and be pretty, and so some like that gets into your head. You're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna like let that slide or let someone be a dick, and I'm just done with that. And so sometimes like if something really does disgust me in someone else, that means there is a trait within me that can reflect back. So
Hmm.
relationships were also mirrors for me. So then when the relationship died, a part of me died within those relationships. Like,
Yeah.
because that is not the person I want to be anymore. I'm leveling up and you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't want that trait in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can use it as self-reflection as long as you're not focusing on like, oh, that, that's fucked up. If you bring it back to the self, I guess. But
Yeah. Yeah. I like to think of our experiences with other people as well, reflections in a way, because
yeah,
if you look at the idea of oneness and the fact that we're all connected,
yeah, yeah. That's been showing up in my art too, like mirrors, love. I did a series on love, different types of love. There's 8 words in Greek for different types of love. Like, I mean, here we just have love
Yeah.
or being in love and love. And there's kind of more nuanced to that. Actually, I can do more show and tell. I think I have some of my love stuff.
Ooh, yes.
But it
More
does
show and
not,
tell.
I mean, all relationships are reflection. So they do
Yeah.
teach us. Um, so so this one is Storge love. So it's family love.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
This one is this love. So this is like flirtatious love, like when you first meet someone, you get butterflies or whatever. Um, Eros love. So of course, like romantic love. Uh, might be it. I do have like one self love. I don't know if I pulled. I did not pull that one. Flausha love. Um, so um, yeah. So,
I love how each one becomes even more richer and intertwined, Yeah.
oh, thanks. Yeah. So, but it all goes back to the self. I think I actually have tattooed on my hand Flausha and Philia love, which I think are the most important. Because Flausha would be self-love. So if everything's a mirror, some people's love suck because they just don't love themselves or they're just shitty people. Sorry, I'm getting a little like like humanity. Uh, but like you have to have a good center, like to first. And then I also think philia, which friend love is really important. It's the basis. Like I think like eros or like romantic love is actually kind of probably one of the lower frequencies of love.
Mm.
Because be lust. So in order to have like a really like good eros love relationship, there has to be layers. There has to like you have to have a friendship relationship first. That is like the most important. I actually had I've had relationships where it ends and then uh they they're like, well, I no longer fit that. I'm it was role dependent. So it's like, oh, I'm boyfriend, and
Yeah.
if it's role dependent, I don't really feel like that's and so you need layers if it's like agape, which is unconditional, um which is something I kind of struggled with for a while because like I said, I had a lot of friend breakups and people I walk away from, and so I'm like, well, what is agape? What does that mean? And it kind of goes back to that whole thing I just read to you, like, you let people come and go, like as long as you don't hold on to outcome. Like loving someone doesn't mean clinging because that's attachment. And then when attachment collapses, it doesn't, like, that's different. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
holding on to the um actually I wrote something. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Here we go. I like writing. I'm actually like dyslexic and my writing's horrible unless you can make my heart skip a beat and then I'm like, I'm gonna go write something really poetic. So, uh, if a relationship can't withstand change, then it was never love. Love is love that is possessive, conditional, or role dependent cannot withstand change. Friends who vanish when you set boundaries, they loved access, not you. Person who disappears when you disengage, he loved the role, not the person. That's not love failing. That's attachment collapsing when it's no longer being fed. So, um,
Mm,
so yeah, I think there's just layers to like
yeah.
relationships and the types of love that are then projected onto those relationships. So, but if it's just role dependent, like, oh, I'm boyfriend, I mean, true love should be able to change forms. Part of love is growing. And if you can't grow, then it's not love, it's stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even in loving someone, sometimes the best choice is to either part ways or give them space. And that in itself is unconditional. You
Yeah.
can still hold love in your heart and them not be around because that's the best choice for the growth of the relationship or the individual people. So I've done
Yeah.
like very deep dives on that stuff. You just I don't know. Anyway. Anyway.
I
Um
feel like that comes from a place of deep wisdom and experience and reflection, you know?
yeah. It gives me something to make art about too. So
Yeah.
yeah. And also just be a better friend, not just like a lover, but like a better person to myself when you understand self-love, a better friend to other people, and just more capacity for love. Some people never people There's some people that go through life dead. We talked about this in pre-talk. Some people don't have the capacity for love because of trauma. And some of us have to learn it on our own. And so it's just yeah, it's been an interesting topic for me.
Yeah.
So um yeah, I think it's the main reason worth living. So uh I mean, like, what would I be without my friends or my community? I really couldn't do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, it's like you go for a period of time where you're like, okay, I'm going to be alone. Wait, I actually need a hug.
Yeah, I need people. I need to know like my community's there. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
so. Um, Human connection is important. We all desire to be seen and be loved and be held. It's also one of the most terrifying things because nobody leaves this world unscathed. No one leaves this world without trauma, like
Yeah.
thing. And so when we love, we also make big risks to open up our heart. But I've been really into this saying, like, I'd rather have a broken heart than an empty heart. I actually got that from from the Birthday Massacre. I was listening to the song Rain while crying from a broken heart, and I'm listening to it, and it's like uh, from my broken heart, and then it's like sad music, and then from her empty heart, and I was listening to that. I'm like, I'd rather have a broken heart than an empty heart because
Mm.
like one means you're feel, and the other one's like you're dead. You also can't have the capacity to love. Like even something I've learned in having a broken heart is that is something I generated. It belongs to me. Like that shows me my capacity. Like I get to integrate that back to myself and regenerate it to my friends or my life or the dream I want to create. So I don't think even in heartbreak, I think I'd just do it all over again. No. Because that also gives me an insight into growth, as we talked earlier. Like the darkness shows us some very interesting things if we're willing to go down that path. Like Jung says, you don't self-actualize. You can't just choose to self-actualize. You have to go through like a very traumatic experience or go through hardship to go through a dark night of the soul. Uh,
Yeah.
so you can't self-actualize without pain. Um, so I think that shows us something that, you make mistakes within relationships and you're like, oh, what do I need to learn? How do I level up?
Yeah. It's you know, as you were describing it, I was actually thinking about the experience of the roller coaster, where it's like exhilarating but also terrifying. And then you're like, but wait, I think I want to do that again.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Some
Hmm.
and then there's also some people that are too afraid to ever live. So what's the yeah, like you have to make risk. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're the ones that ride the trolley.
They're ones that go to work every day and kind of their life a little bit and are in loveless relationships or maybe never fully understand the capacity for love or, things like that. So, I mean, yeah. Um, uh,
Yeah.
I've dated boring people before. Yeah.
I
Uh,
re I really love that you've been bringing in lyrics from your different artists that have really touched you, and I think that's so awesome that you really listen to it. I think sometimes, when you listen to a song, not everybody listens to the lyrics, and it's really special that you can actually hear them.
I was actually just having a conversation with my friend Brain the other day about that. I mean, everyone's brains work different, and I think I'm
Yeah,
neurodivergent. He's neurodivergent. We're just neurodivergent in different ways. Um, but like he's like I can't unpack. Like we're both dyslexic, but his brain is like, oh, when I read stuff, it's just like I have like 20 different definitions for every single word, and I'm trying to unpack that. So like I'm not going to unpack a song. And me, I'm like I love unpacking songs, like because also it's going to have a different meaning to me than someone else per se. Like even my art's going to have a different meaning to someone else because you're projecting your own experience onto that. But I
yeah,
like the layered meanings to stuff and then what it means to you. Actually, with some of the art piece, like with um the trade I'm doing with my friend, for he gave me lyrics, and then I have to unpack his lyrics, and so that's also fun because like it has slightly different meaning to him than it has to me. Then how am I going to interpret that? So
yeah.
put that into a visual landscape. So
I really love that collaboration. I mean, I feel like that's like one of the like coolest things about the community, right? Is the collaboration and seeing how people translate things and seeing how it transforms. You
yeah, I'm kind
know?
of like an outlier because I don't actually make music, but I'm still like, how can I collaborate with my artists? And it's just like
Yes.
visuals to their their lyrics, or and then they make lyrics to my visuals, or I give them a prompt or whatever. So yeah.
So cool. Yeah. I feel like I mean, it's like you can go about like making things in a certain way, and it can become routine, where you're like, oh, I do the same thing in this same way. But like when you actually shake things up, and someone gives you like a prompt where you're like, okay, we're gonna write about like unicorns, or whatever it is, right?
Well, in the scene, everyone knows me as a unicorn. I have a little like unicorn pen.
Oh, I love it so much. Yes.
So
Yay. I knew I was in good company.
yeah, my friends refer to me as the unicorn goth or whatever. Yeah, I'm a unicorn, but I will take it. Um, yeah. So
So, do you have any like festivals or anything that you're going to be traveling to see in the upcoming future?
yeah, I'm gonna go to Wave Gotham Treffen this year. So the guys from Mechanismus at all in
We
Seattle?
love Mechanismus. We've played there before,
Yeah,
so I love
yeah. The
them.
story I just told was about Brain. He's in the crew.
I love Brain. Brain's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Actually, oh, I another show and tell. I actually made an art piece for him. Where because we just had Chinese New Year, and last year was a snake, and I had a really hard snake year, which is shedding. And so I just started making all these zodiac stuff. And so it's his zodiac and my zodiac, and then like his spirit animal and my spirit animal. And the funny thing about this is when I show it to people, people are like, "Are you dating?" And I'm like, "No, I just picked a friend." So I like go up to Brain, I'm like, "Hey, what's your zodiac?" And he was like, "Oh." So, this is the one I made for Brain.
Oh,
He's a water rat.
wow.
I'm a earth dragon. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's
Yeah, he came
beautiful.
by the other day to pick it up. And he was like the first person I saw after a week and a half of like, I've locked myself in the house and now I'm sad. I'm like, you are going to give me a hug. So,
Brain gives good hugs too. He does.
um, anyhow. So again, like channeling off people's energy, it's fun. It gives you like more drive. So going back to love, love gives you drive. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is something I love about certain festivals. I've never been to Wave Gothic. I really would. That's a dream one day that I would love
yeah,
to be able to go out there. Mechanismus is so special because of the community. Like it feels like a family. Like when you go there.
that's my home crew because I'm here in Seattle, and so like during the summer, like that crew and I will go to like I've got a friend who he has a farm like 45 minutes outside of Seattle, and the Snoqualmie River runs through it, and so we basically he lets me hang out on his property and bring whoever I want. So we get beach front property with no assholes. So so we do that all summer long and stuff like that. But yeah, they're taking a year off because they've been doing this for like 18 years. They'll come back for the 20th. So I'm going with them to Wave Gotham Treffin.
Mm.
So I think like um Gen Cab and Aesthetic Perfection are playing at Out of Line Weekender. So I'm gonna fly into Berlin, probably do that, and then I have some friends in Sweden who have offered to let me stay at their place. So I have a friend right outside of Stockholm, and then some friends right outside of Malmo. So I'll probably do that in between, and then go to Wave Gotham Treffen. So that is my plan. I I can only do like 3 festivals a year, and then I'm just like, it's a lot of travel too. So I don't envy my bands touring. I really don't. Like it's not glamorous. So I will say
Yeah.
that. Uh, so I probably will go back to Cold Waves. And I don't know. Last year I went to Terminus. That was fun. I haven't been to Dark Force yet, but Dark Force kind of falls right around Wave Gotham Trappin'. So I don't
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've played Dark Force and it was awesome. Like we had a really good time there. But yeah, again, very community oriented, so it's
Yeah.
really awesome like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I haven't been to Terminus. Eric keeps telling me about it. He's like, it's so great. He's like, you guys need to do Terminus. So bucket list for sure. I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, it has the same kind of vibe, where it's community kind of, and you get to know the people throwing it and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, last year was my first year. It was fun. So I ended up getting really sick. I think everyone got really sick.
Oh no.
I think
It happens.
everyone caught the COVID. So,
Oh.
um, yeah.
Yeah. Festivals and conventions have a way of spreading plague, unfortunately. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, but that's what I have, which reminds me, I do need to like go book my flights to like Europe and stuff and figure that all out. So,
Yeah. For Wave Gothic.
yeah, I've never been, and it's kind of it's such a big festival. Like I actually, when the Mechanismus guys kind of brought it up to me, I was like, Yeah, it's good coming with you. Like I wouldn't want to go to a festival that big by myself. I feel like
Hmm.
having like people to kind of come back to like seems
Yeah.
like yeah, it needs
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. It seems like it's a big, overwhelming thing, so it definitely helps to have buddies that know how to navigate for sure.
yeah. So but
Yeah.
none of us have been, so we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. So one of my friends played Wave Gothic, I think a couple years ago, and he was just telling me, he was like, it was like a dream come true. He's like, this is the one thing that we've wanted to do. And he finally did it. And it was awesome to hear his experience of like getting to experience it. And he was mentioning that it was like a whole city thing, like the whole city, like is involved, which I think is amazing. So
I've heard that, so I'll
yeah.
report back at some point. So
Yes, yes. We need a follow up so you can share.
so
Yeah,
um yeah.
yeah. Well, in terms of like, asking actually about the label, because I feel like, it's just interesting in our current well, digital age. It's I think things have really shifted in terms of what labels do for artists versus what artists do for themselves. And like as a label, do you actually like take ownership of the marketing, or is that something that the artists actually own themselves, like in terms of like how
Oh,
they?
yeah, we definitely market. We have a PR person on staff who writes up our press releases and does magazines and stuff. I tend to head up the social media aspect of it. We also do like pitching to playlists for Spotify, Apple, all the digital streaming providers, or DSPs for short. So yes, we help with the promotion for sure. Um, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, the
it's
landscape has changed a lot over the past couple years for sure. Um, it'd be nice if streaming providers actually like paid livable wages. Like it's only a livable wage if you're like the top of the top. So
hmm, yeah,
so like they do keep like upping their prices, but don't pay their artists anymore, which is really sad. But that
yeah,
is late stage capitalism. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is interesting because I think, obviously like going back to like decades ago, and it's like a strong reliance on physical media, on physical marketing and promotion, versus now where it's like, okay, so many things have become digital in a virtual landscape. And so and you guys have been around for a really long time, so you've seen the shifts of different eras in terms of approaches. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing that Metropolis has stood the test of time.
Yeah, it's over 30 years, 32 years. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
back then it was just CD. And then there was digital download. And then in some ways, streaming did bring back the music industry to some degree because digital download was just, I'm just going to take this for free.
mm-hmm, yeah,
And then, physical, we still do physical. And that tends to be more of like a collector's item. Some people buy vinyl just so that they have a collector's item and you can never play it. Bucky's! I saw the Bucky's cup.
can you tell how much I tour?
I went to Bucky's first time like New Year's ish. I went down to Texas. Yeah. Um, I'm really good friends with the bass player of Urban Heat. Tax, his band was playing, and then also Night Rituals, which is on my label. He was playing in San Antonio. So I went down there, and then had to go to a Bucky's. It was an experience for sure. Like, there's just so much going on. You're like kind of like Costco brain. You're like, oh.
There's There's a game we like to play where everybody's like, "What's in your Bucky's bag?" Because we all have a very different experience. Like we disappear for a little while, we come back to the van, and then it's like, "Okay, what did you get?" And it's always different.
Bucky's has really good hot sauce. I am a hot sauce lover. I have a mini fridge in my house just of hot sauce. Like I have like 50 types of hot sauce. So I actually was really impressed with Bucky's hot sauce. The cheddar, the hot cheddar is
Ooh,
my favorite. So
I'll have to try this.
but beef jerky too. That's kind of what I went for when I was there. And then their hot food, but yeah.
Yeah. I haven't tried the cheddar one, but yes, I love their hot sauce. It's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
next time, I think I've already gone through like a bunch of it, but they they met my mark. So
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
know. It's like I feel like it's kind of like a requisite thing. Like when I first heard about it, where people are like, "You have to experience Buc-ee's," and I'm like, "Well, what about it?" I'm like, I feel like you really do have to have the experience because it's kind of hard to put into words. Yes,
so
yeah, but yes, Buc-ee's. E.
I didn't get into like art stuff. You can get like, big teddy bears and whatever, but I'm like, I just had that stuff. It's just extra. I don't like tchotchkes in general. I yeah. I'm like
Yeah,
my house is already cluttered. I don't need more. I wish I was a minimalist. Just throw it all out. I don't know.
yeah.
The shit you own ends up owning you. That's the existential crisis I have every time I move.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes, yes. I feel like traveling a lot definitely puts it in a perspective where you're like, what am I actually going to bring with me? And that's technically really all I need,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
Traveling, I try to travel as light as possible. Like I never check a bag. I don't trust airlines with my bag. Also, it's in and out. I don't like if I've been traveling all day, I don't want to wait another hour to get my baggage. So it's just whatever I can put on my back, two backpacks and just go.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, keep it simple. So
It's kind of how you're able to especially on tour, like you really do have to keep things pretty simple because you have very limited space, you know. So there's just only so many things that you can bring with you.
yeah.
Though I'm a hobbit. I need my spices from the Shire. Like I do have to bring my spices and my hot sauces. So
You like it spicy. Yeah, me too. So, oh, I just went out to like lunch with one of my friends the other day, like at a Thai place, and I'm like, I think three is decent and spicy. He's like, I want a five. And even the waiter was like, You want a five? I was like, damn, that's like I also want to taste my food. But that's me, because at some point you don't. You're like, oh,
No, it's pure heat at that point.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do really like tasting hot sauces, but like there's a certain threshold where you're like, I can't feel the flavor anymore, and I can barely feel my mouth. So yeah,
With having a mini fridge full of hot sauce, that does happen because I'll have like barbecues or whatever, and I bring out all the hot sauces. And then after a while, you start because so many different spices have gone into your mouth. You're gonna miss the nuance of like a pear being in that one. So then you have to wait it out and come back later.
yeah.
So you'll have to come visit me and we'll just hot sauce all day.
Yes, please. I started making them and also pickling, and I put
Oh,
like
fun.
peppers in my pickles because
Okay,
spicy. Yes. So yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm a big foodie, so
Well,
yeah.
Seattle's so great. There's just so many options in Seattle. So yeah.
Cool.
So I was wondering like in terms of like aspiring artists, we were talking about this earlier. For an artist like just starting out, just beginning, like what advice would you give to them if they're like, okay, Nina, like I'm trying to start my project, like how do I get started? Like what are some things that you would tell them?
Well, I mean, now it's easier to get it out there, so you just, you can put it on Spotify or whatever. Um, I definitely wouldn't like drop a whole album at once. There's the trickling and stuff. Also, if you are shopping around for a label and you have like your whole album out and you're like, I want you to release this, it's harder to like pitch it, I guess you could say. Like,
Mm-hmm.
'cause there's a whole process we go through with press and pitching to the streaming providers and stuff like that. So sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, can you now put this out?" And I'm like, "Well, you kind of, I can't. It's harder for me. Like, I can't go to press once the album's already out, and then I can't go back to the streaming providers to be like, put this on a playlist."
Yeah.
So I would at least say like you can drop things one at a time. Um, Play in front of people as much as possible. Because that's where you're going to be picking up a lot of your fan base is
Mm-hmm.
touring. Touring really does help a lot. And then having social media presence, of course. Gotta, I know a lot of my bands have a hard time with the social media stuff. And I do too. Like my shit's pretty much private. My Instagram's public because I put my art and stuff on that. But I like to keep it pretty private in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so so I get it. So some of my bands are like, this is very tedious to me. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
we are in a content age where people have attention spans of goldfish. Short reels. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and post this interview, and it'll be like 2 hours long, and people will be like, 2 hours long. Can you post 2 minutes?
Give me the condensed version, right? I think it depends. Like, I've been experiencing people that actually really want to go down rabbit holes and really want to like experience, things that have, um, I guess you spend a little bit more time with it. Like, I feel like that's a really cool way to get to know people. I mean, I personally love listening to podcasts because I get to hear entire conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you know, so yeah. But I think that is something that you were talking about, like with social media. It can be very challenging for people and for artists that just want to make their art. It is absolutely something where it's sort of like, well, how do I make that? Like, how do I make that part of my expression in a way that feels good for me?
That's kind of what I tell my artists too, is like it should be like, because no one wants to sell out in that type of way where it's just, like, because some social media, it's like it's the equivalent to watching someone getting kicked in the groin over and over again. Like, you can go down rabbit holes of just scrolling and be like, what am I even looking at, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it should at least resonate with your art, so, but finding content to go along with that, either making a short video or a photo or whatever, but it
Yeah.
resemble whatever you're trying to depict. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where collaboration can be really fun because, like, especially if you get to collaborate with visual artist, where you guys can come up with things together, where it's either a music video or album cover, or whatever the case. It's like you can start creating like aspects of that you can share out on your socials as well. I think that probably is one approach.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess another question then for artists is like, at what point is it appropriate to think of a label? Because I mean there's different labels in the world, and I'm sure there's just different ones that are appropriate for an artist that's a good fit. And so in some artists' case, it's like, well, they never really do fit into the label mold. So it's like, how do you find like that pathway where if there is a label out there, you know, I
Uh,
guess,
just reach out. Like,
yeah.
we have on our webpage, like, where you can submit stuff. Actually, one of my friends I was talking to is who has this writer's block that we're kind of trading stuff with.
Hmm.
He hit us up and sent us music. He is not signed to us right now. He's actually completely outside of our genre. Like, I would say it sounds like Postal Service, but like electronic pop Postal Service. Really good. I listened to it. I loved it, and I was
Yeah.
like, let's have a conversation. And we had I even asked him, I'm like, why did you pick a goth label? He's like, oh, my bandmate thought it would be good to reach out to you guys. And he's like, okay. But as we've gotten to know each other, and basically the conversation never ended, him and I are just like text all the time and talk about art and whatever. So it's definitely like a good relationship we're building. But I've been making playlists on my own for fun. I actually, this whole thing started with like a conversation I had with Brain. We were talking about the song that was written for me. It's the Beautiful Love song. He's like, I thought you didn't believe in love. And I was like, what type of heartless bitch do you think I am? Like, I'm like, I love you. Like, I was like, I don't believe in forever and always, if that's what you're thinking. And he was like, so anyways, I made a play. It started with a playlist called Forever and Always Does Not Exist. And it's a very
Mm.
playlist. So I sent it to this friend and I was like, just to let you know, it's a sad playlist. He's like, I only listen to sad music. I'm like, that's why you applied for a goth label. Like, even though you're like electro pop postal service, that's why. So
You can't take the goth out of the kid.
I made one, which is I'd rather have a broken heart than a shattered heart, and that one is my masterpiece because there's a lot of avenues you can go down in that genre, like that concept. So you can be like, what draws my heart to something? It could be seduction. I kept going down the rabbit hole of like being broken and damaged. And so I ended up constructing the whole playlist the way um, a trauma bonding relationship would be. So it starts off with like seduction. Well, first starts off with the song it was inspired by, which was Rain by the Birthday Massacre. And then it comes in with seduction. And then it's just like, now you're broken. And then as soon as you start feeling sad, I remind you why you're here. You're here for love. And then it just
Mm.
starts the whole cycle over and over again. So that's my so I've been having a lot of fun with playlists, just my personal ones and like coming up with fun concepts, I guess. But I'm also really into psychology, so I was like, oh, I'll just do this weird one. Anyways, yeah. Anyhow, yeah.
I love it. It's like its own soundtrack,
Yeah.
you
And then
know.
then I also, off of being inspired by Brain, I have one called What Type of Heartless Bitch Do You Think I Am? And that's all my favorite love songs. I know
That
he's like,
sounds pretty great.
like, I didn't believe in love. I'm like, have you seen my art? That's like the main thing that I've been talking about. I thought you didn't believe in love. I don't want to meet the person who doesn't believe in love. I'm like, anyways.
Or maybe they're in transition into becoming a person that believes in love. Maybe.
Hmm. Well, you can also be so jaded. I mean
Yeah,
that I mean people get jaded. That
it's
happens.
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Um, but even if you are jaded, hopefully you still have some sort of love in your life, even if it isn't like romantic love.
Yeah.
I said, I needed a hug after a week and a half of locking myself in the house and doing nothing but art. This is what my life purpose is. And it's like you also need people.
Yes.
So
It's true. It's true. We can't do without each other. It is absolutely true.
yeah.
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 I can show you some more stuff. I got
Ooh.
wait, this one is on the life and death cycle. So it's like So I've been kind of like obsessed with this,
Oh.
with I guess death as like an insight or rebirth. Um, like I said, last year was a quite trying time, I guess, for me. And like I let a lot of things die in my life, but they were no longer serving me. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like you need a clean slate. You need um, compost in order for life to grow. Actually, last night I was at a goth show, a goth monthly, and they had a tattoo artist there and they had like flash art. And so there was a skull and then the flowers. And so I had them put it together. So I actually got the life death cycle tattooed on me last night on my foot.
What?
There's like the lights in the way. So here, there you go. There.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
I'm sure no one's done that on an interview before. Anyways. But I felt like that was very goth. I'm like, I'm at a goth show. I want the life death cycle because like it doesn't have to be like so I mean grief is hard, right? Like
Mhm.
that's hard. But I think even in losing someone, they're like in actual death, sometimes their presence, like grief is just a reflection of how deeply you loved. Like otherwise you wouldn't have grief. So even in that, like in people I've lost physically, is that their essence still lives with me. Like you get to
Yeah.
you can take on part of their personality that was very beautiful, right? But even in like what I went through in the past year where I had to leave relationships that I don't feel like I was treated right and I let the young part of myself die within those relationships, it allowed me to grow. I now have space for other things in my life that give me purpose. I get to reflect on who that person was that I'm letting go so that I can be the woman I'm meant to be instead of the scared child. So
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. uh,
Mhm.
so um like sometimes it's about celebrating the person and the person's life and what they brought you and knowing that grief is just a reflection of how deeply you loved.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that you brought in the phoenix. I feel like that's definitely been a theme. And well, we have Phoenix actually in the chat. Phoenix has been joining us. But I love the idea of like the rising from the ashes
Mm.
and the creation that follows and the cycle, the perpetual cycle that goes,
Yeah, we touched on that quite a bit. Like the darkness gives you room to grow. And actually, I had to come to a conclusion within the last couple of days because I've been really into like, okay, I'm gonna learn from this past year. Though I have to say, I'm ready for like it. Actually, it's been things have begun to stabilize for me in my life, which
hmm
is but at some point I was just like, can these life lessons be over? Why do they all have to drop at the same time? But like I think darkness gives us it can be a portal to our subconscious and it can be a portal for growth if we're willing to look at it. But growth, this is the conclusion I give you. Growth doesn't always have to happen in the darkness. So
Yeah.
like right now, because I'm talking about compost, right? Like right now I'm on like all these things have died. So right now I'm on luscious soil and I get to plant these seeds, right? Like I actually kind of did hit a breaking point at one point. Actually, when I drew the death piece, there were so many things in my life I had to let go of. I again locked myself in the house for a couple of days and just cried and made this painting. And then I had to like reassess, like, okay, who's my inner circle? What are the things that are important to me?
Mm.
And then you plant those seeds. And so those things are growing right now. So it doesn't always growth doesn't always have to happen in the darkness. Sometimes it can happen from having loving relationships. And so like I guess at some point I had to give myself permission to maybe not suffer.
Yeah.
So um but it was good in the sense of like now I really feel like my inner circle is solid, that I'm no longer that person, and I'm no longer going to take bullshit. Like I'm no longer going to become silent because I was told to be silent and be pretty or whatever. Like compromise myself to save a relationship. Like if you have to compromise yourself to save a relationship, then that was conditional love, and that's not really love. And that's, I guess, what I'm looking for in all my relationships. It has to be meaningful. I mean, there is a place for, acquaintances. You go to parties, you know certain people, but you also need to know like who are your people.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that when things fall away, it gives you the opportunity to redefine, where you're like, I can actually redraw that. Because you were talking earlier about like, the accidental art, right? And the
Happy
redefinition of
accident.
things. Yeah, it's happy
Yeah.
accidents.
I'm quoting Bob Ross. So, anyways.
Oh, yay.
But even
No,
life, I
but
mean,
yeah.
like life has
Hmm.
a way of, just lean into it. Like
Yeah.
that's yeah,
Yeah.
something not meant to be. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think that, it's sort of like, it's sort of the, I guess, the idea of almost like the radical acceptance of just like, okay, there is going to be darkness, there's going to be suffering, that's part of the experience. And, on the flip side, in allowing that, it's like it kind of opens the cracks, open your heart up a little bit more to be able to like grow, you
Yeah, I
know.
also think like my brokenness is what makes me compassionate. Like
Yeah.
those cracks in my heart or the kintsugi or whatever you want to say. It's like, yeah, that gives me more compassion. That gives me more depth, more capacity for. I mean, you can either let it break you or you can make it define. Like, you know, actually, I got this from Brain too. Like, I had a weird New Year's, and I knew I was gonna go into a weird New Year's, and he's like, how's the drama? And then I kind of explained or whatever, and I was like, and then I was like, I am not a victim of my story, and he's like, he repeated that back to me and was like, that is very poetic. I like that, and I'm like, I'm glad he pointed that out to me because then it became like a mantra in my head. I'm not a victim of my story. Like you can have all
Yeah.
these weird things happen. Like if any, like the New Year story was just kind of funny watching other people's shit shows. But when people are like, "I'm so sorry," I'm like, I didn't get involved. I just watched other people be shit shows. But it's just like a good reminder, like I am not a victim of the story. I'm a warrior of it. Like how you frame and what words you use in a sense are magic, or like I do believe in the law of attraction to a certain degree. I'm not gonna like manifest a Ferrari outside my house. I don't quite believe that. I'm also like a white person in a first world country. Like I have the power to change my mind, and the world around me changes because of that. So like if I mean, I think it's just you can feel that like you meet an energetic vampire, you're like, I want to stay away from you, you're Debbie Downer and you annoy me. Like there is something to be said about what energy you put out will come back. And so it's like I don't want to be a victim. I don't, like, that is not my story.
Yeah. Absolutely. I really like the idea of of having that power to write your story, you
Mm.
know? Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something like as artists, like I think that um no matter what experiences that you go through, you have that power to alchemize and then really think about the framing of it. Like how is this story going to unfold in my telling of it,
Uh-huh.
And that's has to do with the way you talk to yourself as well,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
with like go back to heartbreak. Like did I grow? Did I learn? Did I become a different person? Like, yeah, cool. Would I do it all over again? Yeah. Like these things teach you something. As long as you don't like end up in like, an actual trauma bonding relationship or something, like where you can,
Yeah.
heartbreak with, reasonable people, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I feel like this is another playlist that's brewing.
Oh, do I need to heartbreak with reasonable people? I mean,
Yes, yes.
I get really creative, and I'll put it on my Facebook to be like, people, give me stuff to listen to, so that that goes along with this theme, and it becomes quite fun for me, actually. So, um, yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love playlists, so I will have to go down this rabbit hole. But yeah, I always love
I can
listening
send them
to, yes.
to my.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. Because I feel like there's an art to it too. Like, you can't just be like super sad, or like even my the first one I made, which was Forever and Always Doesn't Exist. Uh like it ends with From My Hand by VNV Nation. Absolutely the saddest song on the whole entire like playlist, because like I don't want you to just cry right from the beginning. Now that we're done, now that we've done the grand finale, now you get to cry. Like there is some art to, like, yeah, how you want to form it, or like how, like, or like, even though I structured it as an abusive relationship, there's a reason why that structure works, because you can't be sad all the time. Like you get so sad and you're like, well, I have to pull you back in somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
not so you're not just there crying the whole time. You have to have highs and lows. So
Yes.
um
Yes.
yeah.
Lightness, please, as well.
Especially if you have a song right in the middle of it, is like, this is why my heart beats the way it does. And yes, I know that in the end I died for love.
Yes. Yes. We need our rolling credit songs, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nina, I wanted to thank you for taking the time and sharing your beautiful, magical rainbow unicorn self with us. This has
Thank
been
you.
such a joy.
Thank you.
Like truly, you're so inspiring. I
So,
absolutely love your art and your perspective and your wisdoms that you've been willing to share with us.
thanks. Yeah, I philosophize and unpack way too much. So at least it goes to good use at some point. So
I
I
beg to differ on them too much. I'm like, more please.
I'll have another brain story. Yeah, like, because this last year has been a lot. So like he's like, yeah, for most of my friends, I have to be like, hey, maybe you should unpack that, or for you, I would say maybe less. Like, because there is a point where you can be too much in psychoanalyzing, and then be like, okay, maybe you should just go have fun with your friends. So
I think there's definitely a balance to be had, you know. I think there's definitely it's a bike. There's a time and place for both, you
sure.
know, and I think it's important to really honor each space that you're in when you're in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you reaching out, and the offer still stands. Come by, have some hot sauce.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
we can so
I'm so there. Yeah. Well, thank you again. Thank you everybody for tuning in and for your wonderful, lovely presence. We're always grateful. It's such a joy to be able to do these and have chats with friends who are so inspiring. You're doing so much for our community. Really, really appreciate the love that you put in and who you are in our world. So, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. We're sending many